Hey Josiah, so great stuff, really, clipping everything out into a YouTube video with all the goods, the bad, and the ugly. I love the title for that. And yeah, like it's 4 minutes and a half, so it's going to be a great breakdown for anyone here. And if they're really trying to improve the defense or just trying to learn what they can do in order to level up. All right, so let's take a quick look, right? I'm going to just let this play. So I'm assuming he's a top player right here. Really, really tall. Yeah, great length, great wingspan. Gotcha. That. Let's do this by play, because if not, it's going to be quite a bit. So let's see here. If he backs down, like basically goes backwards, right? You can either stay here, right, which will give him a head of steam, or you can actually close out that distance. So you're actually going to crowd his dribble and not let him get comfortable with going downhill, right? And it seems like he's a right-handed player. So what I would do is to shade him, right, towards the left side because you're right in the middle. It doesn't even matter which side he's driving unless, right, your help defender right here is able to help out a little bit more. So right here, right, you kind of were opening up, right? You try to beat him to spot. That's actually a really, really good move. And with the closeout right here, right, you should ideally, right, contest with the left as possible, right? Just so, right, let's say if I'm a right-handed shooter, I actually got a whole video on that on YouTube. I'll link that in the link below here as well. But yeah, I give it a little bit more details in the closeout video right there. So, yeah, otherwise, solid defense. Yeah, I mean, you made him cause a air ball, so that's solid, right? Good stuff using your wingspan to disrupt the ball. Good. Right here, yeah, I mean, there is just kind of full court defense. Let's see. You probably want to give a little bit more pressure. Yeah, so let's break this down. I felt like he could have probably drove by you relatively easily because he kind of actually lost position here and was gone. So if he actually drove all the way and committed to it, it would have been very hard for you to kind of recover. So that's why before you even get into that position, you really want to make him shade one way for sure. So you can't actually go back to this way, and then you kind of we're anticipating the move, and that's why you're kind of a little bit out of position. And one more thing is the footwork. So you're kind of like here, right here, you're kind of trying to pivot instead of actually flipping your hips to make yourself quicker and bound out of in this position. Just something to kind of take note. And then we kind of went through this. Let's see here, where you're shading him one way, you know the screen is there, right? And then yeah, solid defense. Yeah, good stuff. Not opening up the hips. Well done there. So another switch right onto you. Good. Probably would have kept shading him one way, because maybe they were calling out some stuff that I didn't know behind you. Maybe they were like to your right or to your left. But right here, right, instead of me opening our hip stack and trying to beat him to his spot too fast, right, I really want to try to stay on his left hip. So you're actually shading him one way the entire time and into these help defenders right here. Yeah. So right here, if once he changes your direction, it would have been very hard for you to recover. If he did a pull up right here, another one, right, you probably would have been in the dust. I call these kind of the dusters, right? Just so you can't really recover from it. Yeah, but otherwise, just more defensive footwork reps and understanding when to use each footwork in scenarios. And you're getting a lot of gameplays, so that's going to be really, really good for your development. I think you did really well here because you were trying to really shade him one way. So you tried to drive here, you didn't try to open up your hips. You tried to laterally slide and really take the contact out, so which was why he couldn't actually like drove by you. And even if he did continue to try to drive, probably with you backpedaling, that would have helped a lot in terms of preventing him from driving all the way. So yeah, I see, you have great potential to be an elite defender. Just needs a little bit more reps and understanding the positioning mostly for your defense. Yeah, good chase down. Yep, already saw that coming before it even happened, bro. Yeah, great way to kind of track it. Good. He did a really good work in terms of trying to slow him down, slowing the point guard down, and then yeah, using your great athleticism, getting the chase down. That was solid. Let's see here, the on-ball defense. Yeah, I can't teach the chase down blocks just because you rarely do it unless it's kind of as a help defender. But yeah, here, yeah, you could have probably shaded him more. So top foot right here, a little higher, right? So he can't actually go through it. And usually these steals are quite vulnerable. It's more like a last resort option, just because when you kind of reach, you're basically beat. All right, so you really need to make sure you're in a good position for it. Yeah, that would have been probably easy dunk towards any other players. So right here, this is the important bit because you didn't your defensive position wasn't close enough. It was probably a little bit more than one arm distance away. And if you just shifted yourself a little bit higher, you probably might have even got the steal, but you didn't. So yeah, let's see here. Good. Yeah, right here. Good. There you go. Exactly. So you sometimes do it yourself. So right here, right? Like you're just basically shading him towards the sideline, right? You didn't open your hips. You didn't open up your hips, right? Still didn't open up your hips. Yep. Still forcing him towards that way. Yeah, exactly. That's what you want. All right. And right here, probably a blocking foul. Yeah, just cause. Yeah. Firstly, the foot you try to ram into him, right? And then you try to, instead of you moving your feet, right? You try to almost like abduct your feet out. So you're trying to like let's say your feet is right here, like just now this is your right foot, there's your left foot. You're trying to do this instead of like pushing here, like and going together. Yeah, so that will make it a little bit less obvious, but that was a tough call because he kind of already got good position on you. So yeah, like right here, like this is actually like solid. I won't even mind it, but like you just need to make sure you keep backpedaling instead of trying to fight with it. Yeah, so here. Yeah, good tap on the back. Yeah, that wingspan that you got is going to be super helpful for you. Let's see here. Yeah, good. Yeah, I feel like on the crossovers, sometimes you do open up the hips a little too much. Like right here, like that. I felt like this is kind of the only issue that I see constantly. But you kind of got this cookies here, right, with the steal. But it's more like a last resort shit. Yeah, but it's still solid though. Yeah, you really got the steal. Nice one. Good deflection. Yeah, that's tough. Can't really do much because you're caught lacking there when he backdoor cut. So if I were you here, right, instead of crowding in this position, right, and you know, right, you basically saw this is really good in terms of like not letting him go middle, right? Right here, when you saw the help defense here, right, instead of being in this position, right, you needed to actually really crowd here to actually prevent his passing lane. Because you have such good wingspan, you could have probably gotten another deflection or a steal right here. Yeah, instead of letting him get that middle pass towards the middle, and then, yeah, maybe he got an open three, I don't know. Good one, yeah, good pressure. That was solid defense, yeah. Didn't really open your hips as much, right? So you really try to keep sliding with him, yeah, right here, and then this caused him to have a turnover. Good defense, yeah. Defense got better as the reps went on from the start. Let's see. Right here, right? This is another thing that I kind of talk about in my lockdown program, but learning how to help as a secondary defender. So right here, let's do it again. So you kind of actually see him right here. When he actually turned his head, you should be crowding him right here. Like that's an easy trap, really easy steal for you to get along. And yeah, that would have been a great breakaway for a dunk or something. Because your defender here, like your teammate here, did pretty well stopping him. So the moment his head is basically not turned towards you, like you could have easily probably got the steal right there if you crowded him. Good, yeah, good footwork. Yeah, defense definitely gets better as the game goes on, which is like a microwave, yeah, or like an oven. Sorry, it's like an oven. Good, that poke away steal, yeah. You sometimes they get called, sometimes they don't. It's kind of really dependent on the ref. But first thing here, yeah, really good on the first defensive possession right here. And then he backs out because he wants to get the space to kind of go into ISO, right? So what you should be doing, especially with your long wingspan, you really can crowd his space. Like, I feel like you can do so much more damage. Just keep pressing him forward. And the only kind of susceptible thing or like vulnerable position that you kind of get yourself into at times is when they do a crossover and you kind of sometimes hop or like you basically jump a little to the side, which just kind of opens up, you know, the opportunity of like the driving lane for them. But if you're able to kind of just adjust that into a lateral slide or something, you're probably going to get a lot like better in terms of like defensively. So right here, yeah, it's always a crossover that kind of gets you lost. And then the poke away is always kind of like last resort option. Yeah, so this is like a kind of closeout footwork. Talking about the lockdown program. So right here, right, he did it like a jump stop, right? So yeah, a little bit too much space and just gotta work probably physically. I know you're super athletic, really elastic player, but I'll probably need you to hit learn how to decel a little bit better here, just because you kind of took like another step here. Imagine if you stopped on this immediately and was able to lunge instead of going backwards again, right? Your wingspan will probably be long enough to contest that shot, right? Either with the right arm to strip, right, or right after that you can use the left arm to contest into the shot. Good. Great fighting over the screen. Oh, that's tough. But yeah, that was really, really good fighting over the screen, right? Not letting him go middle again, and then you fought over it. Yeah, that was a great hedge by the other player, right? But right here, same thing again. You and the secondary defender is way too close. You could have probably have your right foot right onto here, right? Where my finger pointer is. So then you can actually keep making him, right, instead of driving straight to the lane like this, you're gonna probably basically deroute him to going like around like this, or needing to pass the ball out. Yeah, it's just really much. It's a lot about the positioning most of the time, which is causing some of these positions to happen. And of course, there's always going to be times where your defense is not going to be perfect. It's going to be times where you're gonna get beat, you're gonna get crossed, but that's part of the game. We're just trying to learn, the mistakes or some of the common things that we see to minimize those, so then you can maximize your defensive efficiency. Right here on the player. Let me see again. So right here, most of the times you pretty much don't want to open up your hips directly with the screener right here. You really want to try to get skinny, so you should be perpendicular. So your back should be against his shoulder, so that you actually get able to get skinny to get over the screen, right? Yeah, good, lovely stuff crowding him. You see, every time you crowd it, like a player, like you're doing great stuff. You're basically getting some defensive stops, and you're forcing these players to pass it out. Most players don't like contact, so if you're able to like crowd them and not give them the space when they back out, yeah, your defense is going to be next level. Yeah, pick them up full court. Good. There you go. Yep. You don't open up your hips. Exactly what you want. Ref is bugging here, but yeah, great stuff here, right? And then, yeah, I don't really understand what went wrong. Maybe it was a reach. I can't really see it. But yeah, this is really, really good. Not opening up your hips, shading him one way. Maybe you kind of reached here for the steal. But in the future, right, instead of going here, I probably, after I stopped him there, I'll try to beat him here to kind of crowd him and force him, maybe to change a few more times of directions instead of me always behind this player. So then if not, I'm going to be behind the play, yeah? Good recovery. Yeah, that wingspan really does you so well, yo. Good one here. Yeah. It's always a crossover that gets you. So if you're able to really rep out the lateral slide footwork, the positioning of defense most of the times, right? Just being more conscious of what you should be doing. I think most of these situations with the crossovers will not happen, and even if they do, right? I already kind of seen glimpses of you getting the cookie steal, which is basically where you try to tap into their waist, so then you can actually get the steal poked forward. Yeah. And yeah, I think you'll get even more defensive stops. You're already doing so well defensively. Good stuff. Great stuff. Good block. Yep, good. Oh, wait. You guys can call timeouts during a live play? I didn't know that was possible in high school. That's interesting. Never heard of that. Because usually they only allow timeouts during dead plays, but let's have a look one more time. Good. Good stop here. Good. Yep. Yeah, you did really well here stopping here. And now from this position, you want to crossover step, right, to that spot instead of trying to go over here to try to aim for the steal. Yeah. Probably if you were to play at a higher level, I probably want to try to reduce that of you poking around the back, maybe down to like maybe 5 to 15%. Yeah, most of the times you really want to stay in front just because on the scouting report it'll look nice, and in terms of just film study or like people watching you'll be able to get more stops, and it also reduces your team's rotation. So let's say if you actually do get beat and then they didn't call a timeout, no foul, right? He's gonna be here, right? And then like there's gonna be someone else needing to rotate there, and then he needs to rotate here, and then you possibly need to rotate all the way there. So if you're able to stay in front of that, the team rotation defense will be much less, and yeah, it's just going to be much easier on the team energy wise. Yeah. Yeah, hopefully up to this point I'm making some sense. I know I'm just talking into the camera, but yeah, hopefully this was helpful for all of you guys in terms of like improving your defense. And yeah, if you're kind of wanting to have more of these breakdowns, definitely check out Gains Chamber Community. I'll put the link in the group description below. It's completely free. There's going to be strength programs within it, plyometric programs within it to level up you as a hooper overall, and of course some defensive stuff for you to rep out. So if we're back to the video right here, right? Good stuff, right? So like, let's say right here, right, he backed out. You're kind of shading him one way, right? You didn't really let him go that way. So that's why once he tried to go into or drive, right, he basically saw the other help defender here, and then he basically fumbled the pass, yeah? Good defense. I like it. Like the sideways running right there. Good stuff getting over the screen. Good switch. Yeah, lovely stuff. That was a quick trigger, so that was tough. Great defense here. So he's probably like the star player of the team, it looks like, with the way he's playing. Yeah, and then right here, trying to beat him to spot, good. And then just probably a miscommunication, kind of leading to an open 3. But the first 95%, you did really, really well in terms of getting the stop. And yeah, I think I broke it down pretty well for you. It's like a 20-minute video. You can watch it in 2x speed to kind of just go through what I've went through earlier and consolidate some of the key points. If I don't make sense, right, you can probably send me a comment or let me know what you think I might have said wrong. But if you do agree with it, yeah, just let me know. Hopefully this was helpful, and I'll be posting more of these.